The world is changing, and so does change. But the mind has the potential to capture the changing world and make every change count. At Skills Mindset, the leading global skills, strategy and corporate development company, we believe that the mind has the potential of transforming the man from obscurity to prominence. It's the reason why we make skills our business. At Skills Mindset, we stand for change, for development and for success. We challenge, we inspire and we lead. With Skills Mindset, your limit is just the beginning. Welcome to Skills Mindset. For more information about the great service we provide, please visit our website on www.skillsmindset.com or give us a call on our UK number on 07957 676 193. Better still, send us an email on info@skillsmindset.com. Skills Mindset. Challenging limits, maximising opportunities.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone, and you're welcome to Skills Mindset Masterclass for November 2024. And right with us today is Mr. and Pastor, as I call him, Anthony Adesile. And we do have our host who is not here today, but he will be joining us shortly as well, who is Dr. Gbenga Lawal. But my name is Ayo Aribi, and I will be representing the host today. I will be co-hosting. Let me use that word, co-hosting today. So, welcome everyone again. Welcome the UK. Welcome Nigeria. Welcome Ghana. Welcome New York. In Dubai, you're on Friday already, same as us. In the morning. Welcome, even though you're right behind us, but welcome. And welcome Australia. I know you're on Saturday. And we'll welcome everyone joining us from the UK as well and from all around the world. So, yes, it's the Skills Mindset Masterclass for November. And the topic we're exploring this month is starting right in business. You know, there are so many people who have started one business or the other, and they've probably not kicked it off properly. There are so many people who are just looking into going into business and starting afresh. There are quite a number of people who have never even thought of the idea at all, and maybe this masterclass might be a platform for you to jet off into that business idea that has been ruminating in your head for quite a while, for quite a long time. But joining me today, and the host joining me later, is Dr. Anthony Adesile. I know you're not a doctor yet, sir, but yeah, definitely, we're giving you the position of doctorate. And just a brief introduction of Mr. Anthony Adesile. Mr. Anthony, that I know is a pastor as well. And join me in welcoming him to the stage today. He is a seasoned resource development practitioner with extensive experience in providing learning and development support to individuals and organizations. He is the pioneer, of Process Development Plan, PPDP, and the Career Aspiration Program, CAP. Mr. Anthony began his career in the early 90s with his Building Your Tomorrow Today workshops, which served as an outreach initiative for youths on campuses and youth programs across Nigeria. He's now based in the UK. He's transitioned from training to becoming a learning consultant, offering personalized support and mentoring to individuals and businesses. In addition, Dr. Anthony, Pastor Anthony, Mr. Anthony, to his development efforts, he works as a recruitment specialist and as an advisor for both startups and established businesses. He is an expertise and he has a lot of experience that encompasses personal and corporate strategy, as well as branding, providing a comprehensive approach to career, leadership, and corporate development and management. Trust me, he is a prolific writer and an editor as well, and he is soon to become an author and a publisher. He sits on the board of organizations, including Skills Mindset Limited. Once again, we extend a warm welcome to Mr. Anthony Adesile as he joins us for the Skills Mindset Masterclass today. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, Ayo. Thank you, Ayo. I'm so
You,
glad to be here.
We're glad to have you, sir. He's same as you. This is your first time joining Skills Mindset, and this is the masterclass anyway. You're on the board, but this is my first time hosting a masterclass as well. I've not done one before, so I'm not very eloquent, not very professional, I would say, but still, I think he's just thrown me into the deep, and I think I'm kind of enjoying it. Yeah, I'm relishing it, So, but wow, I'm sure you'll be helping me today to progress, and maybe this is my debut masterclass, and maybe I can get better from it. Welcome, sir. How are you today, sir? I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, very well. Thank you.
That's great.
I must say, you started well, and you're doing well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. We're trying. Thank you so much, sir. Yes, sir. So, what are we talking about today? Starting businesses right and starting. So, is there anything such as people starting their businesses wrong? As people, what?
Exactly the point. If one is going to start a business, it's better you start right, because it's not enough to say you want to start business. There are certain things that you need to do and things you need to put in place in order to be able to start right. And if you don't do that, then the tendency is that one will join the company of many businesses that starts and fail, sometimes within the first year, second year, and so on. So the purpose of this workshop, or less, is to be able to bring in that reflection into how best to start your business, from ideas to launch. It's not enough for you to say you have idea. How do you transition from ideas into actual business? And when we talk about actual business, that is where you are actually delivering on the promise, and you are making money, more or less you are making profit.
Thank you so much, sir. That was a good introduction, and that's a great insight as well. But you're talking about making money. There are some people who do businesses without. What about NGOs? Does that apply to NGOs as well? This is just plain money-making organizations.
Of course. Starting business is more or less the business we are looking into now is profit-making. If we want to bring in charity, then obviously we would then need to digress a bit to be able to focus on how to start a charity. But obviously, if it's a business, business is run for profitability, and if you are not making profit, then you don't have a business actually. But with charity, obviously you're not talking about making profit. You are looking into how you can access funding to deliver the service. So that's the difference. So you are not profit making, whereas with business, the intention is to make profit.
Yes, sir. So thank you so much for that insight as well, and that being able to differentiate between people who are going in as charity into the business world, and also people already there at the moment who are probably not maximizing the possibilities that they have at the moment, and possibly people who are about to start business as well and go into business, which is a very, today there is a common saying that says 9 to 5 don't make you a millionaire. So maybe you might make you a few thousands, but it wouldn't get you into that bracket of maybe the high net worth people, I would say. So business is usually the way forward. But before we start, a lot of people are doing businesses today. And when I'm talking about, there are so many platforms now. People are probably setting up organizations virtually. People are using social media for business. People are using so many different platforms for business at the moment. So some people are, well, I mean, there was a time around where when you speak to a couple of young people, they will tell you, "Oh, I'm an entrepreneur," and I'm like, "What are you entrepreneuring? I mean, you're still young. You should be uni. You probably, if you're not uni at the moment, you probably should be looking for an apprenticeship to do, or maybe some sort of work experience, you know, that would put you on a pedestal to where you ought to be in the future. That will help you grow." But so, would we say people just going into training with people going into businesses without training, without mentorship, without people just using different platforms, could we say they have started wrong, or have they started right?
Business is about sustainability.
Mm.
I mean, when I talk about starting business right, we're looking into a well-grounded structure that can actually outlive the founder. So we're not talking about immediate gratification here. So what we find with most people who say they are entrepreneurs or business owners and so on and so forth, is that they only access immediate opportunity, not because they want something sustainable, but the desire, of course, is to make money. But in making money, if you don't plan well and set out correctly, you can make money for some time, but there are certain things that you should have put in place, values that you should put in place, structure, branding, and so on and so forth. Of course, we'll have a lot of people who say that they are into branding. Of course, social media is an opportunity for people to say that they are very good in branding. In branding, but it goes beyond that. Branding is meant to support your values, more or less your business values. Branding is meant to support your ideals as a business owner. Branding talks about the business, not about the person. But you find that, of course, the person is important too. But when you find an organization that is well structured, it's no longer about the person. It's about the organization and the people representing the organization. But for most people who are business owners, what you find is that it's a one-man show, and the branding is about themselves. And if the person is damaged, then obviously the business is gone. So that's the difference. And that's the reason why, if anyone is to start a business at all, you need to sit down and clarify why you want to start a business, what you need to do, with regards to putting the structure in place and so on and so forth. Otherwise, what you find is that you just access the opportunity. There is this opportunity, and you quickly go into it. You make a few bucks, and that's it. An opportunity closes, and you start looking for another opportunity. But businesses are not run like that.
Right. So so what you're saying to us now is he's all based on sustainability. So he's more of a going concern.
That's what I'm particular about, is the sustainability. You see, what we find in businesses like Microsoft, businesses like Walmart, Sainsbury's, and so on and so forth, you find structure, you find sustainability, and you also see you find that such organizations go from generation to generation, and that's because there is structure. That's because the vision that started the business is beyond the person. It incorporates everyone that is brought into the business, more or less all the stakeholders. including the customers or clients. That's what business is about. But if you're looking at you just delivering something in the immediate, I see that as immediate gratification. That does not have grounding. So it's like building a house on sand. But we are looking into how, when you build, you are building on solid ground, more or less on the rock, for example, where the structure will stand and not be shaken.
Thank you so much, sir. That is very insightful as well. So I just want to use this opportunity to welcome everybody joining us on the Skills Mindset Masterclass for this month. Once again, this is the topic we're deliberating on today is about starting right in business and your approach from the beginning right to the end. And we're talking about sustainability concepts, talking about going concern. We're talking about different ideas today that would, starting right, what you need, the things you need, the ideas you need, the process, the logic, everything possible. Just think about the possibilities of what you need in order to move forward and keep your business afloat, rather than just a quick opportunity and you dashing out. So yes, that is a very good introduction. Thank you so much, and we'll welcome you again. So welcome people joining us. So welcome Mr. Kinalen, and thank you for joining us from Facebook. And welcome to everyone else that's joining us that we don't know yet. But we hope you enjoy yourself today. Please take some notes and just stay as attentive as possible, because we'll be diving into the forum of the masterclass now. So do you want me to bring up your slides, sir, or do you still want to give a few
that's
notes?
Fine. Yeah, if you can.
All right, so your slide is on, sir. So we just let you fire around without wasting time.
Yeah, so we're looking into starting right in business, and the purpose is to look at how we can successfully take our businesses from ideas to launch. Obviously, every business starts with ideas, but before the ideas, it's important for us to clarify what business is. Of course, everyone talks about starting businesses and so on and so forth, but what exactly should we see as business? Because if we are able to define business in context, it will help us in building something sustainable. But if we fail to clarify what business stands for, that's when we can just about do anything. For example, someone starts a multi-level business. As far as that person is concerned, I'm doing a business. But is it really a business? What exactly is that business? What is its offering? Okay, so that's why we need to kind of identify, or more like clarify, what business is. And for me, the way I define business is the ability to identify and provide a product or service that meets the need or wants of people in exchange for money, generating a return on investment. Now, if we begin to take this one after the other, the first step is identifying something. You identify a need, and then of course the need then translates into a product or service that you are able to deliver. And then when you deliver the product or service, you deliver it in exchange for money. And so where the last phase comes in is where, because in most situations you find people delivering service in exchange for money without actually generating return on investment. But that's not what we're interested in. We are looking into how the exchange of money can actually result into profitability for the business, because it's profitability. Profitability that keeps the business going. Yeah. So
Yeah, that is insightful, sir. So definitely, this is more like rather than breaking even, you're looking at
exactly,
pretty much moving and actually getting proper returns on your investment as a person. And
exactly. That's why that's why organizations are always interested in, that part of breaking even. You can't be making losses all the time.
that's right,
if
sir.
if you keep on making losses, then of course um you're not running an effective business. But where you are exchanging your service in exchange for money, and you have enough left to sustain the business, to keep to more or less pay the salaries of your staff, and also you have enough um, as reward for what you
Pay
are doing.
yourself, paying yourself
Yes,
and
so you
treating
pay
yourself as
yourself.
well.
So when people talk about you know being free, more or less, you want to come out of employment, you want to become independent. It's not actually being independent, because even when you run your own business, you are um, you are delivering a service,
Yes, sir.
and the reward may not come immediately. So, but what is important is that you are doing something that is meeting the needs of people, and that's gratifying enough. Okay, so the ability to identify and provide a product or service is very important. And then when that is done, you are able to now deliver the service or product in exchange for monetary value. And then when you have the value, when you have the money, you have to ensure that um, you are making profit. So profitability is the future of every business. Okay, so
Yes,
now
sir.
we want to look into um, the area of vision. I say here that every business starts with a vision.
That's right.
So you find someone wanting to start a business. The first question you ask yourself is why? Why do you want to start a business? Of course, people have varied reasons for wanting to start business. Someone who is in employment may just think, oh, I don't want to take this nonsense anymore. I want to start my own business. Or someone says, maybe I'm not earning enough, or the organization is just taking all of my time and paying me less. How about me now using that time to pay myself by starting something? Now, it's not just enough to say that I want to be self-sufficient. I want to be free from, working for someone. I want to work for myself.
Yes, sir.
And so I'm going to start a business. Um, that's that would not be sufficient. It will not be enough goal to start a business.
Would not be a reasonable would not be
Exactly.
a reasonable reason if
Exactly. You need a
actually
vision.
even work together. Yeah.
Yes, you need a vision, because vision comes with you wanting to provide a service.
That's right, sir.
Vision comes with identifying needs. So when we talk about every business, starting with a vision, we have two scenarios here where the business can be accidental, or it can be planned out.
That's
So
right.
I talk about accidental because you have some businesses that are actually accidental. Someone, for example, who loves baking at home. Friends would request for cake, would request for um, pies, and so on and so forth. And because the person just loves baking, you know, he or she would gladly do it. And then from there, some of these friends will start telling the person, oh, I have a friend who wants uh, cake for her birthday. Do you think you can do it?
That's right.
Gradually, you find that person delivering service that extends beyond friends and families. And then you find that the business begins to generate income. But then it's not just for that business to generate income. When you start having things like that, and the person now begin to think about actually starting the business, then obviously then the person will start bringing in structure that will allow for sustainability. I mean, I'm always emphasizing on sustainability because I want anyone that wants to start a business to think about the future.
Yes, sir.
To think about the future when starting the business, because the future enables the individual to plan well. So when you have the future in sight, you will be able to know what to put in place in the present. But if that is absent, that's where you find people just doing things because this is an opportunity. I'll just keep doing it. But the opportunity will soon close. What happens when the opportunity closes? If you have not planned out the business the way it should, then there will be a problem. And then, of course, we have where the person plans out the business. So someone wants to start a business and start asking questions. How do I start a business? What do I do? What actually would be the service that I want to render, or what product do I need to provide? So it's important that vision is clarified in every business plans. And then, of course, every business is a strategic response to an opportunity. Yeah. Opportunity is what drives businesses.
That's right.
Okay. So if you can't see opportunity, you can't have a business. Opportunity is what gives the motivation to deliver something.
Yes, sir.
So there is a need, and you quickly access that need. You provide the service needed. That's an opportunity. So the opportunity, it can be an innovative response to existing products or services, and it can also be an opportunity created that opens up new landscape. Now, the first part there, innovative response to existing products or services, you find that most businesses they are just replication of existing business.
Yes, sir. That's right. It's true.
So, that's where you find people saying that why fix it if it's not broken?
Getting broken.
Yeah. So if I want to have a retail business, all I need to do is to investigate or more or less research existing retail business. What is it that they do that I can do better? Okay, but oftentimes you are not breaking the norms. You are just following the process that they followed that made them successful. So successful businesses, they replicate what already is succeeding. So that's where you find car dealers, for example, is the same model, of operation. And they are making profits. But then when it comes to creating or more or less opening up new landscape of opportunity, that's different. Okay, that will mean that you will be looking into something probably that hasn't been done before, or something that has been done that you can actually improve on. You look at how iPhone started. Prior to that, Nokia was the outstanding mobile phone.
Mobile device, yes.
Yes. And no one would have thought that Samsung or Nokia, will be relegated. Of course, yes, Nokia, Samsung is still shining, isn't it? But when iPhone started, iPhone created new opportunities.
That's right, sir.
And in creating new opportunities, it forces other mobile phone providers to replicate something similar. So they began to also look at these new inventions,
Yes,
new
sir.
opportunities, new
Yes, sir.
landscapes. And so that's where, so for some people, this may be the option that they would need to take when starting businesses. So
Mm,
obviously some people might have been working on starting something new. Some people
mm,
might have been researching and so on and so forth. But what is
yes, sir.
important is for you to be able to clarify it. For
Mm,
example, some time ago, I was discussing with someone. This was when artificial intelligence was still
yes,
relatively
sir.
new,
Yes, sir.
and I met with this gentleman who um, was not working. And
Mm,
during our discussion, he told me he had been a lecturer somewhere in the UK before.
right.
Okay, so what's going on now? Uh, what do you want to do? He said he wanted to start his own business. Oh, okay. So what kind of business? He said he invented something um,
Mm,
through artificial intelligence, using artificial intelligence and so on. And
right.
so the question I then ask is, so what's stopping you? Why haven't you started on your inventions and so on, or the module of your work? And he said, well, he was looking for funding, and
Right.
he couldn't get the funding. So I said, so
Cap-
how much did you ask
capital.
for?
Mm,
How much were
mm,
you looking for? And he told me at that time, of course, this was about 10 years ago. He said
right. Wow.
15,000. And I looked at him. Okay. Why did I look at him? Because if you are talking about artificial intelligence here, and you are looking at creating something,
Mm,
15,000 is not realistic. You can't
wouldn't
even
go a long
use
way.
that,
Yeah.
to put your module together.
Mm,
Okay. So I just shook my head, because that's the very reason why he was not able to access the
to
funding.
fly. Mm,
Okay. And that's also because this person had been myopic in his way of thinking business.
thinking. Mm,
So if we are going to be talking about businesses, we need to look into the future. We need to look at what we really want to put in place. That's going to determine more or less the kind of funding we need. It will
mm,
determine who we need to be part of the
mm,
structure and so
mm.
on and so forth. So
So,
every
sorry,
business,
sorry,
yeah,
sorry to put you, sir. Yeah, I
yeah,
know. Like from what you've said now, this is very, it's quite. What's the word I'm looking for? It's very educating as well, where it
yeah,
gets to um the person you cited starting up a business about 15 years ago, and
yeah,
he's developed a model with AI. He's looking
yeah,
for about 10K to start up.
yeah,
I mean, to him at that point in time, that might be the perfect way of taking off. So he might have been seeing himself on the runway. So could he actually have been because it doesn't? Could it be? Because, I know you're probably going to come to this later, but could
yeah.
it be because there's no coach in place, or could it be like he hasn't spoken to the right people before starting up, or could he? Because I know a lot of people these days
Yeah,
we want to start business without maybe coming to masterclasses or making
yeah,
having a coach, having someone, because it's like a
sure.
movie. You
Yeah,
want to act a movie. There needs to
yeah,
be the director. There needs to be the
yeah,
producer. There needs to be the
yeah,
actor. So
yeah,
definitely, you need to have these people in place for you to have a successful movie.
yeah.
So if you're going to take off, so could he have been maybe because he didn't have a proper coach in place? Could he be
Well,
like,
of course, that's part of it. That's
mm,
part of it. Obviously, um, anyone that wants to start business would
mm,
need the support of a coach
mm,
who will help clarify certain things. I mean, I do a lot of strategic work for people wanting to start business.
mm,
Um, and what I tend to do most of the time is when people bring in their ideas, you find that the ideas are short-sighted,
mm,
have limitations. And when they bring the ideas, my own part in the process is to help them to see the bigger picture.
Yes, sir.
So because when you see the bigger picture, it will help you to start well. It will help you to put together a structure that will be elastic. I'm using the word elastic because, with businesses should be able to change with time.
Yes, sir.
And elasticity is important.
Very.
But if you do not have that foundation and you can't see beyond the immediate, then elasticity is going to be a problem. So of course we're looking at two things: elasticity, that's how quickly you are able to change with time, how quickly you are able to adapt with certain things, and then of course, so that's elasticity, how you are able to change, and then the agility there is how quickly you are able to respond to the change. So these two are very important, and they matter a lot when you are starting your business. Think about all these things, and I think that's what brings us to the next part of the slide. Do you have any idea? Ideas, for example, they are problem-solving inspirations that identify need or problem areas in particular landscapes and translate them into profitable business opportunities and solutions. So every business provide solutions. If you can't provide a solution to a problem, then you don't have a problem. And also, I want to say here that when it comes to problems, even the people you want to provide a service to may not even know that they have a need. But you create a product that identifies a need. So like when iPhone started, there are certain things that that users did not know that they needed, but Apple identified those need areas, created the need. Okay, so ideas enables one to scan the landscape for needs. So you want to start a business, fine. You want to quit the 9 to 5, fine. But if you are going to start your business, ideas is the first place to start, because that's where you identify need. That's there's something I always say when it comes to need opportunities. I always say that everyone can see a forest fire.
That's right.
But skills start with sniffing out the first smoke. All right. So
yes, sir. That's a word.
Sniffing out the first smoke is where you generate the idea. Perhaps something that someone has never thought about before, or something that people have been thinking about but haven't really conceptualized it to become a product or service. Ideas help you to clarify it. When you clarify it, then you are able to now begin to look at, okay, how do I translate this need into potential opportunity? So, but you identify the need first. So when you identify the need, then how you translate it into opportunity, that's where you begin to think about the service or products that will fill the need.
Yes, sir.
So ideas are problem-solving inspirations. So you have to be a problem solver. You have to be someone that continues to think about solutions. So also there's a difference between problem thinking and solution thinking.
Yes, sir.
Business owners always think about solutions. So they always look at how to turn problems into opportunities. That's what makes businesses successful. That's what makes businesses create products or services, because they are always looking for solutions. So where people will be complaining about something, you are always thinking about solutions. I remember when I started building Your Tomorrow Today in Nigeria, it was a time when, I mean, at that time, we didn't have it as bad as this in Nigeria, but the challenges were there at the time. We're talking about the 90s. The challenges were there. You had so many disillusioned youths, unemployed, and when graduates couldn't find job, the next thing was to go and study masters, and so you have all that, but you also had so much discouragement, in the country at that time, and that's when building Your Tomorrow Today started. Myself and Gbenga, we did a workshop at that time at Ogun State University. That's Osu at that time, but with building Your Tomorrow Today, the vision there is to help people from focusing on problems to start thinking about solutions. Because when you start thinking about solutions, then you start looking at probably starting businesses. If you have been unemployed for so long and there is no possibility of you getting a job, then you start looking at, what can I do? What are the challenges out there? What product can I deliver or service? So ideas translate needs to potential opportunities. Ideas also help you to turn opportunity to a plan. That's where what we're talking about now. Identifying the need and now looking at how you can translate the need into an opportunity for making money through the business you're starting. This plan becomes the foundation for your potential business. The foundation, we're back to foundation, structure, foundation, knowing where you want to take your business to from the start. And I'm always talking about this because understanding this will help you with your branding, because your branding is important when you are starting your business. Your value proposition is important. If your value proposition is not clarified, you can as well do anything as a business owner. But doing anything as a business owner is more like jack of all trade and master of none. So plan becomes the foundation for your potential business, and that helps you to outline the structure of your potential business. So if we now go to the next,
thank you so much for that.
Next part, which is foresight. Foresight.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Foresight is about future. It's about the future. Foresight helps you to clarify some essentials. You are able to see beyond. Microsoft was able to see beyond when Bill Gates started. Of course, at that time, you had people who had developed their own software around data and so on. But Bill Gates started Microsoft Word, Excel, and so on and so forth. I remember back then the kind of competition in the market. But foresight enabled Microsoft to become champion in the software industry. And today they are still at the top. So foundation keeps Microsoft going, as it were. The same thing with Apple. Apple stuck to its niche.
That's right.
So in the 80s, 90s, for example, 80s, 90s, MacBook was basically for designers. Those who love design work, they would always go for Mac. But you see, gradually, Apple developed following, and it became like a cult. It became a cult, like, you know, product. If you have a Mac,
a
you
lot
have
of
an
people have a Mac,
iPhone,
have
and
an
so on and so
iPhone,
forth. Yeah,
iMac.
it's foresight. So if you can develop ideas, you should also have the foresight to not only turn these ideas into a profitable structure or venture, but see a future of growth and profitability beyond the mediocre. You know, I talk about mediocrity here because most of the time when we want to start business, we are always quick to start something. Let me just do this, let me just do that, because we are desperate. Desperation oftentimes make us do things the wrong way. Some people would have started business, and the business will now begin to grow beyond what they planned for. But they've spent a lot on branding, they've spent a lot on marketing and so on and so forth. Now, to now change all that they've put in place is going to cost a lot of money.
But
So,
is
for
that
example, someone
not
starts
something
a
good?
business, calls it by a particular name, and starts delivering the product or service, and gradually the product and service starts, you know, growing massively, only to find out that the name cannot be used because someone already has
The
maybe
name,
a patent on it or trademark on it.
trademark on the name.
So you are forced to change. Maybe the person that owns the trademark sends you a cease and desist.
Sends a new, tells you to back off. Yeah.
Exactly. So you are forced to now go back and change everything from the start. So that's why foresight is important, and we're going to be looking into it when we look into maybe branding and so on. But it's important for us to clarify all these things. So foresight provides an opportunity to start right in business. So start right is still the theme here. You know,
Yes, sir.
you are starting a business, make sure you start right. Don't just start right. Have all the necessary things that will allow for sustainability in place. Okay, so foresight also helps to see the future beyond immediate gratification, not just, oh, I want to make money, oh, this opportunity is here, let me quickly make the money. And you make the money, maybe along the line something happened that threatens the character of the person. You know, it becomes a crisis, and then you start to do damage control on that. But the damage has been done. At the end of the day, both the person and the opportunity, you know, becomes mired in the problem created. So foresight helps us to see the future beyond immediate gratification. And then foresight also helps us to build a business structure that is well grounded, yet elastic. I've talked about this elasticity, you know, being able to adapt with change. And then, of course, agility, how quick you are able to change with change. So foresight, very important. And then how to start right. So that where we have business structure. I'm not going to dwell too much because of our time. Business structure, of course, we have the sole trader, we have the partnership, but I'm more particular about limited liability company.
Right.
Okay, because when you have a sole trader business, you are self-employed. You are also liable. You are liable if there is any defect in what you are offering. You are personally liable. If anything happens, all comes back to you.
That's right.
As a sole trader. But when we talk about limited liability company, you are not personally liable. is the business that is liable.
Yes, sir.
And we need to clarify that, so that when you start your business, so when the business is growing, is the business that is the company that is growing, and the company probably linked to you, but you
Yeah,
are
I was gonna say.
independent of the company. Bill Gates, for example, is no longer
The owner of Microsoft. He's still the owner,
in
but
the
not the
leadership
CEO.
more or less of Microsoft, but he started Microsoft. He still owned shares in Microsoft, but Microsoft has grown beyond the founder. That's what starting right is about. When you have a structure helps you, helps your business to grow. Structure helps you to think about a way forward for the business. You're not looking at your own way forward, you are looking at a way forward for the business. Anything you are thinking about the business is within the remit of the company that you started. So that's where you have the company has insurance, the company has a bank account, the company has a name, and so on and so forth, not you. So business structure is important when we are starting right. And then, of course, value proposition. Value proposition here. I put some things there. Legal, is it legal? Is it ethical? Does it fulfill the intended need, or is it of required standard or quality? Those who are looking for immediate gratification will not be concerned about all of this. They just want to make money. So the entrepreneurs that you talk about earlier, they fit into that category. They are not thinking about anything. If people are doing it, I can as well do it, whether it's right or wrong. But for someone who is really starting right, your value proposition is important. You've got to define what your values are. You've got to define what you can compromise or not compromise on, and so on. And that defines how people perceive the business. Whenever people talk about the business or the company, it's the values that you put in place. And the value you put in place also will affect all the stakeholders, including the employees. If when you start having employees, it's the same values. If you have values that are not ethical, then you encourage your employees not to be ethical.
That's right.
You can have as well produce a defective product, but businesses will be liable. If you produce a defective product, you still end up losing in the long run. So all these things are very important. And then we go to this branding thing, business branding. What's in the name? Name is important.
That's right.
Name is important. I'm always very particular about name. And for example, skills mindset. When you talk about skills mindset, you know immediately what it's about.
The values are what it's about. Yes, sir. What the values are, what the vision
Exactly.
is.
You can tell, with the name, you can tell what the business, it aims
It's
to fulfill.
achieve the
The need
direction.
it aims to fulfill. But if you do not think about the name, it can affect the future of the business. You can end up spending a lot of money to rebuild, to rebrand the business if you don't clarify that from the start. It's just,
If you don't
and then
start
of
up
course,
right.
when you have a name, the next thing is to ask yourself, do you actually own the name?
The name.
Do you own it? If you don't own it, then it's a waste of time. A lot of people would have spent years, using a particular name for the business, only to find out that that name cannot
belongs
be
to someone else.
anymore. And then we've had situations where successful businesses had to buy domain names for as much as $10 million because they needed that particular name
to be associated to them because someone else is already using it.
If they've had it before they started, they wouldn't be spending that amount of money. But of course, because it's important to have that name, they would spend so much to get it because the value of the name is much more important. It's beyond the $10 million that they will be spending on it. You know, so business branding is very important. So the name, if you've got the name, do you own the name? And when we talk about owning the name also, we're looking into, for example, domain name. Okay, people use domain, they use the name, but they fail to check, for example, whether the .com for that name exists. I mean, if you have a business that has a global intent and you don't own the .com for that name, then there's a problem.
That's right, sir.
So you have to find a way of either buying out that name from whoever owns it, or you change the name.
Or you change it.
So either way, you're having to spend a lot of money.
That's right, sir.
These are essentials, and of course, you know, trademark. Or for example, also in the UK, maybe you say you want a .co.uk, and someone already has the name registered with Companies House. So obviously, the person that registers the name with Company House owns the right to .co.uk.
If the legitimate owner.
Exactly. So all these things are important, and of course, then how you present your company, your business out there is also important, and that's where the value proposition is being projected. That's where, you know, the products, for example, or the service, the quality of what you are offering, the whether what you are offering actually delivers on the promise. These are essentials. And then of course we have
just before you go on, so thank you so much for that beautiful rendition, for that beautiful session as well that you've just had. And no, we're still progressing on it, and we are learning a lot. I can see the chat, and I can see a lot of people posting stuff on there, and we're taking a lot on board. But I mean, I do second a few things you said in the past about not what's the word you used? You used not citing an opportunity and taking it. Then I've been in that situation before where I do have a business, but I never thought about how the business could fly until I became unemployed for about a year. So when I became unemployed for about a year, I was looking for other areas of contract work, but I couldn't get one. But eventually, I just thought about it. But I do have a business line there that's not flying. I've not thought of. I never thought about the opportunity until the problem came. Then I started thinking, okay, I've been doing this, not making money off it. Then it's time to make money. And that was the first year during COVID that I actually realized I could make money from my business because I never thought making money from it before initially anyway. So I think it's always very important for us to have a coach, have an idea, spot opportunities from what you've said. And just have a lot of foresight to how we want to move forward. You mentioned skills mindset.
The name and then you turning problem into opportunity.
It's opportunities,
Solution thinking there.
So he's a whole lot, and thank you so much for that vision as well. And I was going to ask a question, sir. Do you know we've spoken about people, we spoke about names, we spoke about people starting business right. I mean, I've spoken to a few clients of mine and saying to them, if you're buying the .co.uk domain name, you're buying the .com as well, because the smart, even though you're operational in the UK, you need to cover the .com part, you need to cover other part that what you don't want to do is you're looking at game changers in the whole wide world, like people from China coming in with the name, and people from people who are highly competitive coming in with the same name as you, then they definitely be pushing you out of the market and throwing you out. But it's quite important for us to have that understanding of, okay, I need a coach in place, I need ideas, but the question I was going to ask you, say, is, there are quite a lot of small businesses that are small startups who are thinking about a name as well. And I do know all these ingredients we're talking about, they're quite relevant, but they also, they are cost dependent as well, if that makes sense. Because if you have a name and you want to patent a name, it does cost money. You want to every month buy a domain name that will belong to you. It will cost you some sort of subscription every month. Like you want to do, so all the things that we want to do when it comes to protecting the brand and starting up the brand properly, it costs a lot of money. So are these small businesses or small startups who don't have access to venture capitalists or big money, how do they protect themselves in that area?
Okay. Domain name, for example, I offer name services, domain and hosting services. But what you find is that first, the rates at which names are very important to how we do things. I've seen situations where people register. How you really know that names are very important is where a name, for example, suddenly goes into maybe the person who owned the name fails to renew on time, and then it's taken off and then passes through the 90 days. And then the person may be thinking, okay, the moment the 90 days, for example, passes, I'll just register it. But you find that before that person registers it, others have snapped it up.
That's right.
And then you find the name in the marketplace. 10,000, 5,000, 2,000. Okay, that shows how significant or how valuable names are. Okay, now back to your question. Domain names are, they are renewed annually, not monthly. Okay, hosting could be renewed. Hosting could be done more or less on a monthly basis or annually. Okay, and frankly speaking, I believe that if names are critical to your business.
That's right.
All right. And even if we are not talking about trademark, at least get the domain name. When you have the domain name, anyone that wants to use that name will be a bit shy to use it, because the .com, for example, is not available. There have been times when I will come up with some names and I will check it out and find out, oh, the .com is taken. I was in discussion with someone yesterday, and I told the person a particular domain name that I own. And the person said, I'm surprised that no one had registered that name before. Okay. And that's some of the things that I do, providing services like that, helping people to come up with names. Now, in terms of cost, like I said, the value what it's going to cost you to protect your name is not much compared to what you stand to lose if you do
when
not.
you try to fight for it. That's right.
So it's best for you to do whatever you can to own the name and not let it go.
That's great, sir. That is really good. So just a quick recap on what you've just said to us now. So, and I've seen foresight in that as well. Hosting will cost money. but you just buying the domain alone is a lot cheaper. It's an annual subscription.
Yeah.
For people who might be listening, that might be interested in the same as well. You buy the domain, and once you have the domain name, because the world is a global market now anyway, and a lot of people want to trade online, have businesses online, and the likes of that. So if someone goes and search for a name and the name is no longer available, so it's more of a deterrent to them than it stops them from actually using them as their business name. Wow, that is great. That is great. Wow, well done, sir. That is good. Yeah, go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. And then the last part here is the sales strategy. And what I would just say there is that you don't have a business if you're not making profit. Okay. And so you need to have a sales plan also, because I've fallen into that kind of trap before. You know, you have the mindset, I want to start my business, and then you go and you get the structure in place. More or less, you rent out an office, okay, and you convince yourself that now you have a business, you've registered the business and everything, and you have the office. But the critical part of it is actually selling something. Okay. And if you are not selling, if no one is buying what you are offering, you still don't have a business. The structure, more or less, the building does not make the business. It's just part of the process. It's the return on investment is you bringing in capital that makes the business thrive. If you don't have that, then you don't have a business. So that's why you need to have a sales strategy.
But when we're talking about people making money, sir, then what happens to, because there are some businesses that you're starting up. For example, there's a lot of people into skip making in in all the parts of the world, and that's seen as a business for a lot of young people these days. A lot of young. I know I keep channeling towards young people quite a lot, because those are kind of very business minded people.
Future of tomorrow.
And they're looking at making a lot of money through all the platforms available, but most of them are going into an industry where the product being offered or the service being offered is not new. And because of that, we're talking about, okay, I'm going into this business, and we're going in there to make money. What happens to the ideology of being a loss leader? Because if you are going maybe in the first year or the first few years, you probably might be making losses. Does that then mean you don't have a business? Or does that mean, okay, even though you're looking at the going concern on the foreseeable future, you might start with a loss? Or
all right,
how do we address that, sir?
All right. If you're not making money, there has to be clarity about why you're not making money. Okay. For many years, Facebook was not making money. But it was one of the most highly rated businesses, IT business at the time.
So building a brand with money.
Yes. But the money, more or less, what makes Facebook valuable, or what made Facebook valuable at the time was the number of accounts, growing accounts. So you have over 1 billion, isn't it? Over 1 billion membership. That's the value of Facebook at the time. That's what gave investors confidence to invest on Facebook, even though it was losing money. Because they knew that the time will come when the returns will outweigh the losses.
The investment, the losses.
So that's different. But when you have a business that is not, you don't have a client or customer, all right, and you still own the business, what you should be interested in is how to bring in a customer, or more or less how to bring in customers or clients.
Right. That is the strategy.
Sourcing for those who are in dire need of the
What you're
service
offering.
or products that you are offering. And that comes with strategy.
Thank you, sir.
Right. So we're not going to dwell much on this one, business unusual, the creative drive. What I did here is to come up with acronyms for creative and drive. And I want to use this to more or less inspire some values that we need, you know, if we are starting businesses. And of course, business unusual is what I put there to inspire us to develop a future for whatsoever business we're starting. So think about the future. As you are thinking about the present, think about the future. How can you realize that future? And it takes unusual thinking to be able to do that. So the creative drive. So here we have for the creative, we have creativity. Creativity is important. Of course, with creativity, you also look into innovation. So you can be creative, you can be innovative. They go hand in hand. Okay, every business needs to innovate, and of course, you need to develop creative ways to continue to launch your business into success. And then you have resilience. As a business owner, how resilient are you, or how are you able to withstand storms, problems, challenges,
competition?
You know, if you're not able to take rejection, for example, then you are not ready to start a business.
That's right.
Because in the process of you looking for clients or customers, you will face a lot of rejection, especially as a startup. So resilience is important. Enthusiasm, how enthused are you? Are you excited about what you are offering? Are you excited about your product? Are you excited about the business, about the company you are starting? You know, it should come across in the way you talk about your business, you know, before people, in the way you talk about your products or your service. Enthusiasm is very important. Agility, that's the, how quick are you to respond to challenges or opportunities? How quick is the rate at which you are able to, change with change? How quickly you are able to access opportunities? That's also very important. And then you have the trust. Trust is very important for every business. Of course, you have those who don't think about trust when they start out. They just want to do things. They just want to deliver things, but if you want a long-term business, a sustainable business, then trust is very important. Every stakeholder need to trust the business. We're talking about, those who will invest in your business have to trust that you are able to deliver on the promise. Those who are going to work for you in the business have to trust in your values. You need to trust in your ability to deliver value. Trust is important. And then of course intelligence. Everyone has intelligence, whether intellectual or emotional, but you need both intellectual and emotional intelligence when you are starting your business. Times when things will be tough, you need emotional intelligence to be able to, scale through at the time. And then, of course, in terms of intellectual capacity, you need that. Looking into areas of strategy, looking into supplies and so on and so forth, the markets, competition and so on. It's very important to be intelligently aware. And then of course, vision, is what drives every business. Vision drives the person. How do you have a vision, and how are you able to communicate the vision? How do people understand what
Your
you are
vision.
trying to project? Do they understand your vision? Very important. And then of course, excellence. If you want to deliver a service, then be excellent in doing it. Let your service be excellent. Let it be the best. If you can be the best, if you can be the best, then be the best. Always strive for excellence. Let people know you for that. And then of course, the drive, dream. Of course, dream, provoke ideas, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Once you dream enables you to see the future. And then when you see the future, you begin to think about how you can realize the future from the present. Then risk. Every business owner, is taking a risk. And if you are taking a risk, weigh the options carefully. Is this a good risk or
that was going to be a question? Now, how do you? What was the risk levels that you'll be taking? Because there are some people are risk averse, some people they're not sure on a 70-30, 50-50. What level should I go into this market?
But if you are taking a risk, don't take a blind risk. Weigh the options. That's where strategy comes in. Then of course, investment. You need investment. Your own investments, maybe family and friends investing, or you sourcing for other areas of investment. But of course, with investment comes responsibility. People need to trust that you are going to deliver on what you're offering. And then value proposition, we've talked about that before, and it's important for us to consider that. And finally, we have enterprising. Every business owner is an entrepreneur, and
that's right. So
you're quite a lot of thinking about doing something. That's the end of the slide.
Thank you so much, sir. He's been very educative as well, and we've taken a lot on, and definitely this is a masterclass I'll be going back to watch myself, because he applies to me in so many ways. I've started a few businesses that I didn't start properly, and because the startup has not been right, he's been quick for me to exit the industry rather than stay in there. So it's still seeing a lot of people ask, "Oh, what's going on with this business?" I'm like, I made a loss and I've not returned ever since then. And they keep saying, "No, you need to go back." And I keep saying, "No, I'm not going back," because I do see every time I think about how much loss I made, then literally it just deters me from going back into that market. But I think it's not really about being too fearful of going back. It's about just thinking about the ingredients, the steps, the resource, and all the necessities, things that are needed in order for me to be successful in that industry. So it's quite important for us to. You've educated us a lot, sir, on all the things that we need, the steps to take, the approach to take, the ingredients needed. And I like the fact that you started off with needing a coach, because that is important in today's world.
And then talk about coach. The thing is, a lot of people want to start businesses. They think about other things that they will spend money on, but they do not want to spend money on coaching. So if when a coach offers a particular amount of money to deliver the service, it's too much. But then they can spend thousands of dollars, pounds, or naira on other things related to the businesses. You understand? But those things that they spend money on, a coach would help the business owner to, set up something that will be lasting. And for me, the value is much more important. So if you are starting your business and you are going for a coach, always look for someone that will be able to deliver effective service. And sometimes you may not need to think much about what is going to cost you, because the cost of failure is much more important. It's much more
can be daring.
Greater,
it's greater. Can be more
yeah,
daring compared to
what you spend, initially to put your business, in a better place.
That is the unseen part. So it's more like coaching is the groundwork that is very important.
I mean, it's the support
before the business takes off. Because I agree with you. So say it's more of a startup. It's more of the starting point and the continuation point as well. So the pilot point, we call it. So you just call it a pilot. So you need someone to keep navigating you and just guiding you through the part that you don't know about, so you can stand. Even when you're standing, you still need the support and help of a coach from time to time to point you in the right direction and how to. And yes, thank you so much, sir. And we'll be taking a few questions because the time is fast spent. And I just use the opportunity to welcome our host as well, Dr. Gbenga Lawal. You're welcome to. I've added you to the stage so you can say one or two things. But just before you speak, sir, I wanted to ask our guest speaker for today a question. You spoke about investment, and you mentioned family, you mentioned friends, you mentioned different areas. I know a lot of people want to put their money where their mouth is. Put their mouth where their money is, whichever way they say it. So what am I saying? If someone is thinking, okay, you're asking me to put money into your business, then I need some sort of assurance that when you, let me use the word I use in Nigeria, when you blow, when the business gets big, like what happens to my initial investment? Is that what I get back? Do I get specific call? I do understand that that's where the need of drawing up contracts comes into perspective, but how does that affect the control of the business?
Well, it depends on, of course, when you register your business with Companies House, it will ask you to provide the person with significant control, isn't it?
Yes, sir. It will.
Okay. So obviously, the name or names you provide will tell more or less will tell everyone about the people who actually have control. That's control in running the business. But it's not always like that, because you can have control in managing the business, but you can have silent investors who actually have a stake in the business. They also have influence, but obviously it's those, for the company, is those who have larger percentage of shares that would have significant control. Now, so back to your question. The fact is that, that's why it's important to have a good structure. Register your business, because when you do that, you are able to allocate shares based on the investment that comes in. You are able to say, okay, I can give you maybe 5% of my business for this amount of money that you are putting in. And that's important. So, like you said, you draw out a contract to that effect, and it becomes
legally binding.
Yeah. So the business continues. That's what differentiates a sole trader from a limited liability company.
Limited liability. Thank you so much, sir. I know like Dr. Gbenga might have one or two things to say as well. So welcome you, sir, to today's masterclass. The stage is yours.
Well, thank you so much. Can you
Hi,
hear me?
Gbenga.
How are you, Anthony? How are you? Are you well done? Well done. And I want to appreciate all the participants, all those who are joining. You're all welcome. As you know, we do appreciate you because you are here. That's where we do what we do. And thanks for encouraging us to always come here. I want to appreciate everyone, including my Professor Adebi Abosede, and others as well. You're all specially and welcome and appreciated. And thanks to our guest who's been, is part of this of the organization, and also to the host. I'm just going to leave the two of you to do what you do. I try to join while I've been on the long ride for about 4 or 5 hours. I'm happy I'm able to, show live here, but I've been following while I was driving. Now, just to add, from what Ayo asked a question that Anthony actually answered, and I just want to add this, which is very important, and this is one of the reasons why people shy away from engaging in business and perhaps investing in existing business. You see, our presenter mentioned something about contract. It is very important that before you invest into any existing business, you do your own due diligence. You want to know how it's been operated, how it's been set up. If it's not been set up properly, then it doesn't matter the posture and the outlook of the business and the promises that it brings, but you want to know the structure. If it's not rightly set up, you can be sure that it's not going to end well.
Yeah.
I've attended business, so many business opportunities, and I asked just one question: is it multi-million-dollar business? And people joining and investing, and I was just going to be part of our investors, and just say, okay, and I only asked a question to say, well, this is an American business. I'm not in the America. And then of course, what happens to protection? Who regulates the organization? How people who are not in the territory also be protected and all that. And while I was asking, I was actually doing my research, and I realized that this organization was not regulated at all, not even anywhere. And this is a multi-million-dollar business. And I just said to them that I'm out. And they were saying that, well, I said, because if you are not regulated, there's no exit strategy for me. There's no protection of my investment. And then, of course, the terms and condition within the contract is they just give you paper, ordinary paper that you cannot you cannot effect it anywhere. You cannot enforce anything. So and there are so many businesses like that, particularly all these multi-level marketing businesses and all that. That's exactly the way they are. And I've done quite a lot. Tony will tell you. And I've got my hands burned several times, but it's good because we are learning. So I'll leave that just there. And then, of course, to every other person, there's nothing wrong in investing with any existing business. There's nothing wrong. All you just got to do, and that's where the importance and value of a coach comes in. Things you couldn't check yourself. Somebody must have gone through that. I'm sharing my experience because I've gone through it, and I've actually had to explain. And I mean, a lot of people, even some of our mentees, to guide them as to what type of business they want to invest in. Of course, just give them some bit of things to look out for, to watch out for, and they will be surprised that they will come back and say, well, you know what? Thank you for saying that to me. And I also tell them, if you want to test the ground, do it with the amount of money that if you lose it, you can't be bothered. So you start from there. Don't be greedy, and then gradually get your money back, and then get on. You'll be fine. Anyway, that's just, it's not my show today. It's Anthony.
Let me just I remember in the early days of the .coms, people were just investing millions in startups, .com startups. And, many of these .com startups at the time, young guys, young ladies, seeing millions of money for the first time, millions of dollars. Rather than focus on building business, they were buying cars and so on and so forth. And many of these businesses collapsed.
Wow.
You know, this was at the time when other .coms like Amazon, and you know, so that's why it's important, if you are going to invest in any business, look at the value standard of the person you are investing in, because the person that is asking for investment, you know, is the person that you actually investigate. If the person is not someone that you can trust, then you might as well not invest, because your money is just going to go down the drain. So due diligence is very important when you are investing in something. Investigate the person, investigate the business, investigate the structure, investigate the proposition. A lot of things that you need to look into before you can actually say, okay, I'm convinced that this thing has potential. Now, you can have potential, but the people that will run it may be suspects. And if they are suspects, the potential is not going to mean anything. Very important.
Thank you so much, sir, thank you, Dr. Gbenga, and thank you, Mr. Anthony, as well, for all your contributions so far. He's been educative. I keep using that word because, being honest with you, I'm being schooled tonight, I'm being educated tonight myself. And yes, apart from what I know, I think you've from what you've said tonight, I've learned a lot, and I'm sure the participants and everyone else watching from different parts of the world have learned a thing or two as well. So before we wrap up tonight, I have a few questions. And earlier you were speaking about sustainability and elasticity. So someone did ask a question, and the question was, is this in terms of fund or backup or backing up the business?
Well, elasticity has to do with your ability to change with time. You know, every business has potential for growth, and also in the process of growth, changes do come. The problem with Nokia was its inability to change quickly. And then everyone that remembers BlackBerry,
Yeah, the enterprise platform.
BlackBerry is an example of a company that did not act quickly, and before you know, the company knew it, the other mobile phone providers
already went ahead.
Yeah, so elasticity has to do with you being able to shift with time. Structure enables you to do that. You know, because with structure, you are always looking at the future. What can possibly change, or what is changing, you know, and with that, you are able to adapt to it. You know, we are thinking about who moved my cheese here, you know, so you can't be stuck in the same, doing the same thing when others are already moving away from that landscape into other landscapes. You know, IBM almost collapsed, you know, before they restructured. Microsoft was almost relegated before they redefined, you know, the business and so on. So it's how you are able to change with time, how you are able to, and you know, you are able to respond to all those dynamics. That's what business is about, the foresight to be able to do that.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So that does, I think that does answer the question for Mr. Akiale, who asked the question as well, because yes, we're talking sustainability in terms of the business adaptability in the market and the industry, being able to respond to changes, being able to spot opportunities, being able to visualize what the going concern would be. Obviously, like the money will come eventually, but the most important thing is the business is still existing and not being kicked out by competition in the market, because there will be competition. So you need to be elastic enough. You need to sustain the business. You need to keep spotting opportunities and niches around you and talk into that in order for us to move forward. Well done, sir. Thank you so much. Another question from Dr. Adesile was, how do you manage the cost of honing the business name?
Well, like I said earlier on, the name first is important. When you have the name, for me, register the name. If you are having a business, then make it legal. So when you make it legal, you own the name. So if you are in UK, you register the company with Companies House, you own the name. No one else can register that particular name. And then, of course, the domain name is important. I tend to, when I find a name, or when I have a name, the first thing I do is to look for the domain name. If the .com is available, I register it immediately. Okay, so when you register a domain name, you own it. No one else can take it from you, unless you are careless to let it go. No one else will own it. I mean, I've had some domain names that that is over 15 years. You know, I still own it because it's valuable to me, and it could be valuable out there. All right. So domain name is important, and then make it legal by registering it with Companies House. In Nigeria, I believe that's Corporate Affairs Commission. So more or less make it legal. When you do those two, that gives you some sort of relief.
Yes, sir.
And then, of course, when you now get to the stage where you have enough resources to have the name trademark, for example, if the name is going to be a brand product, Kellogg's, for example, is a brand. So what did the company that owned it do? They trademarked it. Okay, so when it's trademarked, no one can use the name at all. And of course, with trademark, where it gets expensive is when you begin to do cross-country registration, because with trademark, there is EU, there is US, there is UK,
different countries, different
it
regions.
goes on like that. So you would need to look at the countries where you deem to be very important.
Very pronounced.
So if you want to register the trademark, for example, you'd register it in the UK, in the EU, in the US. That gives you a wider coverage, and then by extension, other important countries.
Other parts of the world. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, that costs a lot of money, though.
Yeah, I was going to say that, because apparently I think the question mainly. Thank you so much for that insight, sir. And I think there's a supporting question that came following that as well from the same person.
Yeah, I can see that question. Do you capitalize the cost of owning the name,
or treat it as an expense? How do you treat it? How do you?
Well, like I said, names are very important. You have people who will own a name and sell it for a lot of money. Like I said, people have sold .coms for $10 million, $22 million. Okay, so for those who bought those names, of course, you can tell that the name was so valuable to them. And for some of them, research showed that the moment such companies own that name, for example, a company that bought a domain name for $10 million, from the moment the company bought it for $10 million, the value of the company rose into hundreds of millions dollars. So that tells you how valuable the name is. So if you own your name, it's yours and it has value.
That's right.
Okay, it has value that goes beyond monetary.
Mm.
Of course, you can monetize it. You can monetize it, but if you see a future for the name, then it becomes something that you hold dear. Because someone can offer you $1 million to buy that name. But if you see that the value of that name to you transcend the money that you are being offered, then you will not sell it.
So this is you speaking to people or this is you opening at that point, opening our foresight or our vision to other areas of business, which is the business of buying domain names and probably reselling in the future.
Yeah, there are those whose business
is trading domain names.
Trading domain names.
Wow, that's interesting. Thank you so much, sir. So the next question is, what should a business that has gone bust do with regards to picking up the scraps and starting up again?
Well, you learn from the business. The first thing is you ask yourself why the business failed. Because if you do not learn from the previous business, then you cannot build something out of that. But when you learn from when a business fails and you sit down, you ask yourself, what did I do wrong? What could I have done? What actually happened? Did the landscape change? Was the need misidentified? A lot of things, you ask a lot of questions, you appraise. So for every failure, there's a learning phase. Okay, that's the solution thinking that we're talking about. So you learn from the failed business before you can start again, start afresh. And when you start afresh, what you have learned is how not to do things the way you did it before.
All right. Thank you so much for that, sir. So the next question is from someone from YouTube, and the question was, what happens when you keep researching? And now, I think this person I think this person's question is about the next steps, because this person is saying, okay, you've done your research and then you're trying to step out to start a business. Then how do you go about doing that after you have the idea in your head, you've done your research and go about stepping out?
That's a very good point, because it's possible to keep dwelling on ideas for so long. For example, I'm helping someone with her business, with starting a business, and we've been looking into various options. Okay. And the last time we met, what I then focused on was, well, we are talking about all these structures. What can you do now? What can you start out now? Okay, that we champion the business. All right, before you can put other structures in place, more or less, before you can build on the business structure, the product and the services, which of the product or service can you actually start now? So when you identify that, you start, because you can as well be on the research phase for years. And that's what you don't want to do. You don't want to be in that bubble where you are telling yourself you are researching, but actually what is happening is that you are afraid of starting. Fear of starting lures one into that research phase, where you convince yourself that I'm still researching, until you find out that you have not actually started anything for so long. So what's important is, when you've researched, you've clarified certain things, think about something you can start first. How can you start the process? When you start the process, others will fit in.
Well, that's a fair. Thank you so much, sir. That is quite good, and that is very educative as well. I will keep using the word educative because tonight is an education and is major, and we're all learning. And I'm sure the way you're lecturing us as well, I'm sure you're learning a thing or two yourself as well, and maybe refreshing
Of
some
course,
sort of
of course.
memories. So it's quite important that we're taking all this on board. So before I ask you for our final few words and our final few nuggets, I'm not sure if Dr. Lawal has anything else to add before we call it a night.
Yeah, thank you. Just to buttress what you might probably have said, the whole essence of tonight is just to help us to know how not to, experience the pitfall that is commonly found in startups, and I think that's what it's all about. And two things, key takeaways for me actually would be: number one, you don't go into business because other people are going into business because you just thought you want to go into business. You go into business, as the presenter said, guest speaker said, you think about solution, you think about problems. Those two has to go. Problem, solution. That's why you go into business. Number two, I don't think you go into business because of money. You go into business because you want to solve problems. You want to add values. That is what will bring money. Although while you are thinking about that, you are thinking about sustainability as well. So that you are not too much enthusiastic in terms of delivering value, and you can't run business on a zero. you need to sustain it. So those two things are very key, and that's where you need a coach to help you navigate through that hurdles. And the third thing I would say in terms of takeaway for me from what we have been talking about is to ensure that you can avoid a lot of pitfalls, and then you can, and increase your chances of building a successful startup. So that's for me, and I think it will be for everyone as well. So let's keep learning and let's keep enjoying company with others who have gone ahead, and then of course share some nuggets and advise us on what to do, what steps to take, what to look out for. And I think business is lovely. There's no business that is bad, but you got to
That's
check
right.
what you have done wrong. Thank you
That's
so
right.
much for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lawal. And yeah, just to add one or two things to that as well. I think what I'll be taking away today is the creative acronym, and it's quite a good one. And I think everyone should pretty much walk away with that as well, and probably just print it out somewhere, drop it somewhere, and always look back at it, because if you're going to start up a business, or you're picking up a business that has gone to ruins already, or maybe you've started up and you thought you've started up well, but you're not flying as you would love to fly it, then it's good for you to go and revisit the fact that you've been creative enough, that you have enough resilience. Like, what is your level? What is your level of agility that you've got? Have you built trust? From what you mentioned about Facebook, they were spending money, being lost leaders for many years, but they weren't really losing, were they? They were investing their money into building a brand. And even though they were not making profit, money wise, they were making profit people wise. So there are some sort of like different ways that everyone would classify what profit is to them based on the vision and the direction the business needs to move into. So I'm taking all that on board, and intelligence as well, emotional and the intellectual one. The market is volatile. There's a lot of changes going on. There's a lot of like shock coming into the contract world, into the business world. Then how do you change? How do you adapt? How do you wiggle yourself out of the rocks and actually come standing again? And that is where intelligence kind of comes into perspective as well, and the vision is key. And yes, everyone is an entrepreneur these days, and yeah, you need that excellence and the desire to be excellent in what you do. So I think we should all take that on with us, and yeah, that would help us in our day-to-day running of our businesses. So Mr. Anthony, sir, thank you so much for today. It's been a very insightful one. It's been very educative. It's been very mind-blowing and mind-opening as well. But do you have one or two things to for us to take away with us that you want to give us as nuggets?
Well, I just want to still on vision, in personal process development that I always talk about. It has to do with learning. It has to do with building. Whatsoever you do, always see yourself as building on something. So if you're starting a business, personal process development is also relevant, because you have vision. It's all about visioning and how you can translate the vision into profitable business, running a profitable business. And so what I would say is that learning is part of the process. You can't start a business if you're not willing to learn. Even when you start a business and you are making money, you still need to learn in the process. You are always evaluating. So learning is critical to development. And I would encourage us to, always have that in mind, even when the money starts coming in.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And when the money starts coming in for everyone attending today, don't forget to pay your 10% to Skills Mindset for this knowledge that you're taking, for the nuggets that you're taking away with you today. So once again, thank you so much, sir. We appreciate you. It's been a privilege listening to you, and it's been very insightful as well. Thank you, Dr. Gbenga, for this opportunity to host tonight. Thank you for coming on eventually as well. I almost chickened out and said I'm not doing this.
Thank you, Ayo. You did very well.
I've said to myself, I'm not a public speaker. I've said to him a lot of times that this is not happening. I've said it, that is not happening. But I mean, throw me into the deep end. Being honest with you, I tried looking for people to run it, but they all just bailed on me last minute. And that's why I said to myself, this has to be done. So thank you so much. Thank you everyone once again joining us online.
And you have run the longest masterclass ever. Thank you.
That's always 2 hours. So I'm trying to cap it up. We must leave before 10 o'clock. It's meant to be 8 to 9, and this is almost 2 hours now. So thank you so much, Mr. Allen, for joining. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Shonaya. Thank you, Mr. Odunwa as well. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, the professors, the doctors. And I'm sorry in case I've giving you the wrong title. I'm not sure. I don't know everyone on here. So if I've called you a doctor or Mr. or uncle or auntie mistakenly, please don't take it to the heart. It's all for a good purpose. Thank you so much for tonight. So, as we close down, thank you so much. Please, you can always watch these masterclass. We have you on our social media platforms, on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Please feel free to always rewatch these and our previous masterclass as well. The one for last month, the one since the beginning of the year. Please go on our social media platforms and just check on there. You'll probably be able to take a thing or two with you. So thank you so much for tonight. It's been a privilege. It's been great having you. And we hope you go home today revisiting your business ideas and trying as much as possible to apply one or two things that you've learned tonight to your hopefully. We pray for successful business in the long run and as a going concern for everyone. Thank you so much. So subscribe to our channel. You can see our social media icons at the top. When you go on Twitter, we're Skills Mindset. When you go on Instagram, it's Skills Mindset. When you go on YouTube, it's the Skills Mindset. And please follow us, set notifications, so whenever we have anything new coming up, or we have a broadcast, or we have a premiere that we're premiering of maybe our old videos, you can always be the first to be notified as well. So please follow us, and we follow back as well. We're interested in your progress and your advancement. So yes, please, let's do this together from time to time. So the next one's coming up. And I just want to use this opportunity to announce that we have a book launch coming up as well. It's already launched. It's already in the market by Dr. Gbenga Lawal. It's called The Space, Your Place. And yeah, you'll probably hear from us in the next few days. We'll send an email out. So please look out into your emails, and we have more information about the book launch to you. And yes, in the absence of nothing, we just close down the masterclass for tonight. Thank you. Have a wonderful night. Thank you, Kenya. Thank you, other countries that we've not mentioned. Thank you, America, Ghana, New York, Dubai, Australia. Good morning. And have a wonderful night. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
The world is changing, and so does change. But the mind has the potential to capture the changing world and make every change count. At Skills Mindset, the leading global skills, strategy and corporate development company, we believe that the mind has the potential of transforming the man from obscurity to prominence. It's the reason why we make skills our business. At Skills Mindset, we stand for change, for development and for success. We challenge, we inspire and we lead. With Skills Mindset, your limit is just the beginning. Welcome to Skills Mindset. For more information about the great service we provide, please visit our website on www.skillsmindset.com or give us a call on our UK number on 07957 676 193. Better still, send us an email on info@skillsmindset.com. Skills Mindset. Challenging limits, maximizing opportunities.